I want to thank the Woodworking Network for, one, having the National Wood Board here. We had our board meeting yesterday, very successful. But two, I want to thank them for putting me at the hardest position in the entire schedule because I'm separating you guys and lunch. So I promise to keep this high energy. I promise to keep it informational. But I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about taking success to the next level. Start off with a quick question. How many of you, by a raise of hands, have unfilled or unskilled positions? Please raise your hand. If you're not raising your hand right now, you've got a secret sauce. What's that secret sauce? Tell us all, because we are all struggling with this. Suppliers, manufacturers, dealers, everyone is struggling to find skilled and empty positions. What if I told you there was a place that you can find a well-trained, well-mannered, ready employee that is going to fit directly into your business tomorrow? Well, I'm here to tell you it does exist. Tim kind of stole my thunder, but it's called The Mill. For those of you that aren't familiar with The Mill is, as Tim said, an old potato chip facility that has been turned into a CTE-focused facility to help generate that next generation of skilled workers for our industry. And I want to take it back a little bit further to how the mill was actually founded, because I think it's very important that we start with a strong foundation. So the two gentlemen on the left are two crazy superintendents from two different school districts, one Peyton and the other one Widefield. Scott and Tim, two guys that I've gotten to know very well, and two very progressive thinkers when it comes to advancing young people and getting people into the right positions. Tim was reading a magazine, I believe it was Woodworking Network magazine, and heard about this crazy passionate guy out in Oregon named Dean Matson. Dean was a little bit different than the traditional shop teacher. He wasn't teaching students how to make birdhouses. He wasn't teaching students how to make toolboxes, boxcars, the typical things that we've all learned from our shop teachers that are probably also the gym teacher, right? Dean had a different approach, and Dean was driving industry standard education for woods manufacturing. So what does that mean? Dean was going after suppliers, manufacturers, asking for input, asking for projects, and giving this to the students to help them upskill themselves so that they would find that next position either right out of school or help them get onto a better college education. So Tim flew out to Oregon and met with Dean, and the two crazy guys got along really, really well. And Tim knew that there was a void in this area, the Colorado Springs area. And what that void was that some of the manufacturing facilities weren't finding employees, but also some of the students that were going through Tim's school district were not getting jobs directly out of school that were well-paying jobs, and maybe they didn't want to go to college. So Tim asked Dean, how would you like to move to the middle of the country, away from Oregon, and help me build this program to get the next generation of skilled woodworkers through? Dean took that challenge, moved him and his wife to Colorado Springs, and together with Scott Campbell, started The Mill. Now again, if you remember what I just said, Dean was a different type of shop teacher. Dean knew that it wasn't about building bird boxes and toolboxes, or birdhouses and toolboxes. So what did Dean do? Dean went straight to industry. Dean tried to find as many inputs and as many supporters as possible to turn this old potato chip factory into what is now called The Mill. He was able to partner with 61 exclusive global industry partners. Some of them you will definitely recognize, as well as some local manufacturers that he was able to involve to make sure that it was an ecosystem that would sustain itself. And so now that we're caught up, I want to show you a short little video of what The Mill looks like. Raise your hand if you have been to The Mill. A good amount of you. So this video was shot a couple years ago. It should give you an insight to what the students are going through and what they do on a daily basis.
I think the mission, the goal of the mill is really to create students who can go directly into industry if that's what they wanted, to be able to create a situation where students can go to work and go to college at the same time if they would like.
We start out with the basics. We start out identifying wood, learning how to use a tape measure, and then as we progress through the program, we then start talking a lot more about learning how to design. We learn estimating, figuring out the material we need, and we take the wood portion of it all the way from the mill to finished material.
The partnership of Stiles and Peyton Woods Manufacturing as well as the mill is really the foundation of what has been created. This is a situation where industry has donated or is allowing the school districts to use their equipment to teach the students to go directly into a business, into industry, or into education.
My favorite part of the program at the mill is like using all the machines, learning about all the hand tools, and just learning about what you could do with all this wood. If another student is thinking about coming to the mill, I would tell them to pursue it because this is an opportunity that you do not want to miss.
So far throughout the mill, my favorite part of the program is that they're really hands-on with you, and it's not really them showing you what you have to do or what is throughout this trade, but they'll give you a little run through and then you get to do it yourself and actually experience it and really learn it.
The most rewarding part of this job is being able to see the growth in these kids. As we're teaching life skills. Be perfectly honest with you, if they never touch another piece of wood, I don't care. But if I can teach them to be successful, contribute to society, I've done my job.
My instructors at the mill were, I'd say really they're more so like a mentor and not really like a teacher. My favorite part of attending the mill was probably building our own cabinets and being able to just use all the machines, and especially in high school, that was awesome.
The mill helped me prepare for woodworking because it gave me that insight that this is something I wanted to do, something I wanted to actually put the effort toward. I didn't want to sit in an office and behind a desk all day. I wanted to move around and use my hands with stuff, and the creative outlet of it was definitely inspirational.
Our economy can't afford for every student to go to a four-year university. Our shortage is in skilled trades, and that's exactly what we're teaching in a facility like this. And so it's important they can get their education right there at their high school and be contributing members to the economy and society right out of high school.
How I would define success over the next 5 to 10 years between the partnership of Stiles Machinery and the mill would be to continue to see the class sizes increase. So right now the mill is hosting around 140 students a year. In 5 years, I'd love to see that number at 300 and 400, and maybe even see other school districts start to invest in courses and structure like the mill and Peyton School District has done to continue to supply the industry with good, educated talent.
Please don't judge me for my hair. It was COVID, it was weird times. But as you can see, the mill it's not just a building full of machinery, it's an energy. When I hear Chet talk every single time he chokes up, gives me chills, right? It's about the kids, it's about the passion, it's about helping these kids find that next step in our industry because we know it's sustainable. And so this is the capture from last year. So total students last year was 422 among 3 different programs. There's cabinet manufacturing, there's home construction, and there's welding. Last year, there was 183 cabinet manufacturing students in this program. That's a lot of potential employers that we can have by utilizing and investing in programs like the mill. The cool thing about the mill is it's peer-to-peer learning. The individual you see with the baseball hat on actually works for Concepts in Millwork. He was a former student at the mill and now works for Scott, and he comes back and teaches at the mill. So they're learning from someone their age. They're not being lectured. The other thing you can see is it's a very open concept. This isn't a lecture hall. Kids are by themselves, right? They're learning independently, and then they have their instructor to guide them. I love this photo because there's an individual that's asleep in the corner of the classroom. Every single class I've always been in, and we were there yesterday, there's always one kid trying to fall asleep and you're trying to keep him awake. And last but not least, I know it's a little bit tricky to see in this picture, but the way that the mill is laid out, it's progressive, right? So we're not shoving these 14-year-old students into a 3-axis CNC machine with an edge bander and hoping that they're going to learn it straight away. They're learning the basics, the fundamentals. I would guess that probably 50% of this country don't know how to use a tape measure. Maybe even higher than that. So they're learning those fundamentals. When Chet said that they're learning life skills, they're starting with the basics and advancing up and finishing with that CAB 4 program where they can make a direct impact into a future employer. So now I'm going to hit a few reasons of why. And I don't think I really need to be honest, but I want to make sure that I'm as thorough as possible with why this is important. The first thing is this is a breakdown of workers by age in the U.S. job market. If you look at workers between 45 and 54 and 55 and 64, it makes up just under half of the working population in the United States. Now let's think about this. Someone starting at the mill is going to take, 4 years to get out of that program? And that's only here. Half of the population is about to retire in 10 to 15 years. So if we don't start doing something right now, we're definitely going to be in trouble. The other thing is, there's 9.8 million jobs unfilled, meaning that career paths that we have set up in current high schools right now of going through a K-12 program and then going off to college and hoping that person's going to be successful is not working because not every student is made to go to college. We need those skilled trades people. And the scary part is 12% of this 9.8 is in a woods manufacturing industry, whether it be construction, woods manufacturing of cabinets, closets, so forth and so on. 12%. So we have a lot of unfilled jobs right now. The other thing that's a little bit scary is we have an evolving workforce. So as I'm a younger guy, I'm going to work probably until my 90s. The average tenure or average length of a career is 60 to 70 years now. People are not retiring as early. The average tenure, how long someone is at a job, is 4.5 years. And this is where it gets scary. The half-life of a skill, meaning the importance of a skill learned, will fade out in 5 years. So we had Stowe up here talking about the MES systems that are in place, right? That's new technology. AI is going to take over that MES system in 5, 10 years. So the things that we're learning right now in school are going to not be obsolete, but there's going to be new technology out. So if we're expecting a child to come out of school and then go work at Jimmy John's and cut sandwiches, and then try to hire them to run I think we said $1.1 million operation with an MES system tied into it, we're going to have downtime. We're going to have training time. All of that costs all of you money. So if we don't invest earlier, 14, 15, 16, 17 years old in high school to bring out with a fundamental skill, we're going to be behind. The other thing that we're battling is our appearance. When I first came over to the woodworking industry, my previous life was in the automotive industry. I took this job and I thought, what am I getting myself into? Hand sanders, hand saws, right? I knew nothing about the technology that's in our industry. This is the way that people are looking at the woodworking industry. When in reality, we know that this is what it's evolving into. We heard that from our last presentation. So we have to start changing that perception, because if not, we're losing potential employers, and we're also losing our shop classes in our high schools because people are viewing it as irrelevant. All those kids that are supposed to be going to shop classes are now going into construction-based classes, and they're not understanding that woods manufacturing is an important part of our economy. And because of all that, it's up to us, whether you're a supplier, whether you're a manufacturer, whether you're within the industry from a marketing perspective or an insurance perspective. It's our responsibility to help these kids get to where they need to, because again, it needs to be an ecosystem where it comes full circle and we have that future employer in our facility. With all that being said, I'm happy to say that we have launched in September of last year a 501c3 nonprofit called the National Woods Board. The National Woods Board, as Tim said, is made up of 16 individuals spread out throughout this industry. We have manufacturers, we have educators, we have business owners, we have media executives. We have every single aspect of this industry on this board for a reason, because we need inputs from everyone. We need all the influence we can get to be in that same room to move mountains, to make sure that we can get the programs that we need to be set up the way that we need to. So let me talk a little bit about our mission and our vision. The mission of the National Woods Board is to replicate and proliferate the mill model on a national level by providing collaborative platform between industry and technical education. Our vision is to bridge the gap between education and the trades, creating an advanced career opportunities that fulfill the massive workforce needs that we have in our industry. So what does that mean? Well, I tried to put my brain together and put this into a pretty diagram, but it's pretty damn hard to do that. So this is the diagram that I want to explain. So in the middle, we have our National Woods Board. As you can see, we're tied to both suppliers, wood shops, and manufacturers. The most important part about the National Woods Board is a scalable curriculum. Whitefield School District, who now owns the mill, is a large school district. Durango, where Molly teaches, is a smaller school district. We need to make sure that we can make this curriculum as scalable as possible, because we all know it's very unlikely that we're going to be able to get 61 executive partners globally to invest almost $1 million into one facility in one school district and then replicate it 100 times across the nation. And so the importance is that scalable curriculum, because then we can go to those local school districts, provide them with this curriculum, which then impacts how they're teaching their students, and then provides you an industry-ready employee. This is not a huge mountain to move because we have proof of concept. We have Scott Robinson. Scott, could you raise your hand for me? Scott is from Concepts and Millwork, a local manufacturer in the Colorado Springs area. Scott has been partnered with the mill for about 7 years, I believe. Scott has hired over 10 full-time employees directly from the mill, meaning these employees are coming out of this high school program, they're skilled, they have the soft skills they need, they have the safety skills they need, and they're making an impact on Scott's business. And because they're making an impact on Scott's business, Scott continues to support the program in numerous ways. He donates material, he donates time, as you saw in a picture earlier. He's allowing his employees, he's paying his employees to go teach when the mill doesn't have a teacher available. He's donating resources, and he's also contributing finances to it as well. The thing on top of that is Scott is also a member of our National Woods Board. So he is invested fully. So what does this mean? What are we offering? We're offering a scalable curriculum that is Woodwork Career Alliance, or WCA, certified, which also contains an OSHA 10 certification to school programs. It's structured around a CTE-style program for Colorado, and we will be advancing these discussions as we move throughout the states. We're also offering that consultation. When I showed the members of the National Woods Board, you could see that there was people from all walks of life in the industry. Once we get in touch with a school, we'll be able to connect local businesses, local suppliers, to help that school get that program built, to find you your next employee. And again, we are bridging the industry and education experts together. I always joke with the education guys, they don't know how to talk to industry, and the industry guys don't know how to talk to education. We have to find a translator, and the National Woods Board is that translator. How many people are familiar with HBI, or the home builders industry? A couple of you? See, HBI is a very well-respected, very well-recognized organization with the home builders organizations. They partner with the likes of Home Depot, Lowe's, Menards, major manufacturing companies, major supplying companies, and they have a curriculum that is used at the mill from the home building side to get these students ready for their next job. Over the past, I think Shane said 74 it was founded, 1974. They put through 184,000 students, certified 184,000 students in that industry. We currently have nothing in our industry that is a standard of education. We have a certification program, but we have nothing that's a standard of education. And that's where the National Woods Board fits in. So what are our steps? What is the National Woods Board trying to do and trying to get to in order to be successful? So we had to strategize a business model that was workable. Once again, we knew that we weren't going to be able to put another mill in every corner of the country. So we decided to focus on the scalable curriculum instead of the building itself. We formed our business entity. We have a 501c3 institution. We have our first employee, Amanda Conger. She's our executive director. So where we sit right now is we are trying to find funding. We need funding for a number of things. The biggest thing we need funding for is making sure this curriculum is scalable and that the distribution is obtainable. Meaning that we're not just going to hit Colorado Springs. We might hit Grand Rapids, Michigan. We might hit San Diego, California. It has to be scalable. And in order to do that, those of you familiar with education know that editing curriculum is extremely expensive and it's extremely time-consuming. So we are in the process right now of crowdsourcing for seed money. This is where your role comes in. I'm going to ask again, by a show of hands, how many of you have unfilled or underskilled positions? Raise your hands. Don't get shy, because I'm talking about money now. The thing is, as I said earlier, we need to pay to play. I think our keynote speaker talked about it when he talked about how do you find, someone asked the question, how do you find the next generation? How do you find that person that's going to come into your business? He said, you've got to work for it, right? You've got to put in the sweat equity. You've got to make connections with your high schools. This is your time to pay to play. So how can you support? The biggest thing, as I said before, is this scalable curriculum. Without this, this is the linchpin. If we do not get this curriculum out, this program dies, to be frank. We own the rights to the curriculum, but it's not in the right structure right now. We need to get it into the right structure. So what we're asking for is funds from the industry. We collectively need to support this program to make sure that it's successful, because if we don't, who will? Right? This is going to help everyone in the industry. It's going to help you. It's going to help the suppliers, manufacturers, educators, everyone. If everyone in this room right now donated $1,000, we would hit our seed money already. We could work on that curriculum, and we could put it in place in fall of 2024 for Cab 1. And if you ask Shane, and David's here today, we've got people knocking at our door asking for this. But we can't give it to them in the structure that it's at because it's built for the mill. It's not built for the rest of the country. So what we're asking today is for you to get involved. If you scan this QR code, it will take you to our website. There's a donate page here. If you would need an invoice, Amanda Conger is happy to provide it, a receipt, whatever you need, we're happy to do it. If you're not comfortable donating right now, I get it. It's a big decision. Feel free to raise your hand up with your business card in it. I'll ask the National Woods Board people to come around and collect them. If I could actually have the National Woods Board representatives just stand up real quick. All of these individuals here are here to answer questions. Every single person you see standing up besides Amanda is a volunteer. They're here on their own dime, they're here on their own time, and this isn't their only job, right? So we are donating our time, our efforts to try to make this work, and we ask that you as an industry continue to support us. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.